Hello, welcome to the Eclectic Reader. Listen to great books and stories while you use your eyes and hands for other things. Now here's your host, Madison Mason.
Hi, it's Madison Mason. Welcome back to Chapter 20 of The Great Quarry Boys. The story gets deeper and deeper. Enjoy. The Great Quarry Boys, Chapter 20, Craven Bumgardner. "You little son bitch!" he heard his old man scuffed brogans clomping across the worn floor of the kitchen at a dead run. He didn't have to look back. He knew what was coming. The steel-toed boot at the base of his skinny butt aimed to crack his spine. He set out at a dead run as the screen door shook on its hinges from Hank Bumgardner's feeding weight. But Craven didn't have to worry. One thing he knew for sure: he could outrun his old man on one foot. God, in his infinite wisdom, had not endowed Craven Bumgardner with much that was impressive, but he gave him tremendous speed. Craven could outrun most kids in Great Quarry barefoot over any ground, even if they wore their best high-top sneakers. His bare feet were naturally shod tough from constant contact with the earth. Todd Kyle jokingly swore they were cloven, like a deer. Craven only wore shoes in the winter and only to school, and only because they made him. He was in the woods and gone before his old man passed the chicken coops, his heavy black railroad shoes and dark blue coveralls slapping together. Hank's heel caught the end of his pants leg and he tripped, slamming down onto the hard-packed dirt face first, and split his lip. He moaned and rolled over in the shrill sunlight, his head spinning. He'd be sick for sure now, he thought. His stomach was already coming up on him, the booze and bright sun mixing badly with his passion and exertion in the red dirt. Mama Bonnie stood just inside the darkness of the kitchen and watched through what was left of the screen door, her fat arms folded across the huge mass of her breasts. She looked in disgust at her sorry excuse of a husband trying to gather himself in the yard. He stumbled toward the house, blood running down his chin from the dark red split on his dirty yellow lip. He stopped, staggered, and threw up on the ground. What happened to it all, she wondered. It was so good once, a long time ago. Deep in the pine woods, Craven stopped. His heart thumped loudly in its cage, bony ribs opening and contracting under his faded T-shirt like the fingers of an angry schoolteacher. His body loved to run. The sinewy musculature that carried Craven Bumgardner's soul came to life when shot through with adrenaline and pushed to capacity. It could run forever, a material flame burning with the thrill of flight. He plunged into Cummings Creek, scaring the life out of a big brown bullfrog that spit through the air at full extension. Its shiny body plopped the water and disappeared, powerful legs driving for safety under overhanging roots on the far bank. Craven stood knee-deep in cool water and gasped for breath. He scooped glistening handfuls of amber creek into his face and open mouth, gulped the sweet water and spit it high into the forest air, a bright fountain falling in spray onto his stringy hair. Hatred and fear cooled in his chest, and he yelled. He didn't care who or what heard. He screamed long and loud. The pain of his limited life roared up out of his throat and silenced the forest. Jaybirds, squirrels, snakes all stopped and listened, assessing the danger. Craven listened to the anguish of his own voice echo away through the dusty woods, insignificant among the tree shadows. And then he cried. Injustice rushed into his heart. He flopped on the muddy bank as tears of helpless anger ran down his face. He dug his fingers in the gooey brown mud and let it all come out of him. All the pain of his deprived boyhood came, the poverty, the smirks of the girls, the ridicule of the dirty older boys who knew his sister so well. His drunk father came, who beat them hard and made them all experience a horror normal folks never had to think of. Being the laughingstock of the town was a thing familiar to Craven. He wasn't stupid, and he wasn't oblivious. On the contrary, he was sentient as a woods animal, but born in a place and time over which he had no control. So he cried with pity for his mother and himself. Lulene he didn't cry for. He despised her and she him. She was hateful as their father, and she loved to cause pain. A streak of hate ran through her, poisonous as a sewer. She inherited that awful part for sure. No, Craven cried for himself, out of pity and impotence. He roared, he keened, he sobbed, he moaned deep and long, until the tears wouldn't come any more. Then he blew his nose in the creek and threw more water in his face, dried himself with his t-shirt, and set out for Spring Hollow, his sanctuary, his place of refuge.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of The Eclectic Reader. Please go on to the next numbered episode to continue. Also, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you'd like to help support the project, you can donate under Madison Mason at Patreon. And please check out our website, kltkrdr.com, for more information.
Hi, this is Madison Mason. I want to personally thank you for listening to The Eclectic Reader and invite you to share your experience, your thoughts, and your suggestions. We have many great books lined up for the future, but if you have requests for anything that is in the public domain, please email us at kltkrdr@gmail.com.
kltkrdr@gmail.com